I am Mary, Queen of Heaven and Earth. Children of love, I address to you on this day of the Assumption, not as a representative of the Intergalactic Confederation of Free Worlds, because you know, there are numerous months we express all together, in one voice. I come see them today, like Mary, the one who created in Uranus footsteps this earth, which makes me like yourselves in the incarnation. He met life, death and resurrection. Silence, I announce them special, because everything is seen in you and around you. Today, show them clearly, if you want to look really, the front of things, which you live, this very moment, the time it was prophesied by many voices, both the beloved John as the group of prophets that went through this world incarnation. Remember, first of all, that all this takes place in you, just as what you see on the screen of this world. Then, of course, more than ever, the set of words of the ancients, the stars and the archangels is there only to put them in the face of themselves, in the face of fear or in the face of love, to engage them firmly in the love that goes out and transcends all fear. Thus, each of you, my children, wherever you are on this earth, is confronted this last choice. It is no longer a matter of vibrational assignment, is no longer a matter of positioning yourself elsewhere, not at the heart, then, where love, transcendent, unconditioned, but which also human love takes all its place and all its truth and especially all its efficacy. The set of circumstances of their lives, whatever their life and wherever you are, at any age you have today, is there just to put them in the face of this dilemma, if I may say, fear or love. Thus, as a mother, but also as a human, I come today to urge them to take advantage of this lapse of time it opens to you, during the last months of this particular year, to be said in love, and let be the love, running through every person and every condition that you have to live in this period. Of course, my son, Christ is the model of love. Follow him, not as following someone, but accepting without condition, all that proposes their lives, now, wherever you are in this world. Because every circumstance of his life, in every relationship as in any event, is there only to put them in the face every time, this choice of love or fear. It is more a matter of understanding what you want to be, is no longer a matter of elucidating any unknown, it is, but, much more, to put up the eternal love, one that transcends all dimensions, all times and all spaces, and to state what you are visibly in this world. Oh, not by words, not by speeches, not postures, not, either, for behavior, but directly, by their loving presence for themselves and for each one, whatever animosity, whatever the satisfaction of any relationship or any circumstance. It is time, indeed, now, to leave the place to the truth. There is no longer any place for half measures. There is no longer any place for one who want to assert their person to eternity expense. The choice of the ephemeral and eternity closes now through what you live, one and the other. Whether it concern to your body or concern the challenges that they are placed, either concern to your health, your family, your profession, or way more simply, the way you live, everything is an excuse. It is time, now, to settle definitely in love, whatever becomes your body, whatever become the circumstances of your life. The best way to experience the joy today is no longer seek to resolve whatever it is, or even see what cannot hit right, if I can say about the truth of love, but simply leave this grace expand and prove from your heart center, from the heart, and leave then life fill them thanks on every occasion, every breath, every circumstance and every relationship. Put love ahead and everywhere is not an empty word, but a daily practices and every moment that allows them, if you wish, wherever you depart, you want to feel the vibrations, or feel the crowns or nothing have felt to this day. Grace operates increasingly evident way from the moment you do not resist more, from the moment acquiesce in any way, the will of the light, the will of love, and go off by themselves, without effort, and let disappear your personal will. Follow the direction of motion, follow the meaning of life, be humble, more and more, and let the light do what needs to be done, both in your body and in your relationships, as in all countries of this planet. What spreads under your eyes is just as above. In the most violent acts the most foolish living this earth at this time, there is nothing more than fear. In love, nothing of all this can exist. Love comes to test them, but also to comfort them in the truth of love, so that you know, human, as their joint, if I can say, with the unconditional love that, as you know, depends neither of affections but responds simply, it is the life, grace and intelligence of light. There can be no other salvation than that of His eternity. Acknowledge it at every point, in all things, every minute of your life. Of course, they and perhaps the lived, many elements were communicated them to approach it, whether the contact with nature, whether older information that we have communicated to them long ago. Today, even all this should not worry them, no date should be sought, no pleasure should be sought if it is not the pleasure of love and grace that are manifested spontaneously, as you know, effortlessly and without will. Turn to themselves, turn to the shining in the heart, and that does not need to be designed, but that is their nature. If you accept the love, if not fight the fears, to turn more to love, then you will find that what may remain, still, memories, resistors or difficult elements will be attenuated by itself not because it will disappear, but because you will have found the love themselves, love of life in its totality and in its entirety. There is Christ, He is not nowhere. Of course, numerous events come upon every day on the surface of earth, whether geophysical changes, whether of fear and violence that manifest themselves, but also of grace and love that are there, if you know, look with the true look and not that of appearance, and not that of the satisfaction of their desires or their pleasures. Love quenches you, nothing He can delete or anything unpleasant happen to allow you or an eternity. On this particular day, as each day that will pass now, you should take them to the inevitable, there is only the truth of love. So, as a human, as you also, I come to urge them to pray, every minute of your life, not the sterile prayer that comes from religions, but the prayer of the heart, which has no need of words, which has no need another expression of that approach, more and more, its center of His chest, His eternity. Here is the only recourse, there is the only nutrition, because all outer nutritions will soon cease. My appeal resounding trumpets will echo at the time that grace has chosen. But they were ready. He comes like a thief in the night, and He can come, now, no matter when, for each of you, but also, no matter when, for the whole earth, whatever its position, whatever your fears, whatever their vibrations, whatever their age. It is now time to leave all beliefs are off, as Venice rem up for themselves, the power of grace. Remember, you have nothing to do, no effort, because love is simple and simplicity. He did not entangle with any explanation, with some lineage, with some vibration. Simply, He is there where everything is clear, there, where everything flows from the source. So you are called to grace, not for a moment, not as a state which comes at times, but rather as a permanent and indelible inexpressible state, in which nothing can be as before. Thus, the butterfly breaks. Some of you have already taken your flight to eternity. Who are still in your life here on earth, retain the essential as love. No injury, whether of money, whether effective, can prevent love to come heal it. From the moment your consciousness is divert these injuries and let Him entirely, to manifest love, human love, I repeat, as the unconditioned love. Everything that is presented to your conscience, in your life, is our just to guide them, touch them, if you prefer, and take them to where their true place, one that does not suffer from any time constraint or space, of any age, of any condition or any assumption. Today, I come to call them, as human as you, accompanying its creation until the end, to leave work in you, Christ. To look and to get their hands every day with a fresh look, which does not depend on you, which does not depend on your condition, but it depends solely love. Be vigilant and stay tuned to this love. Do it with your eyes and your consciousness to see, every day, only love, whatever the difficulties, whatever the suffering in their bodies or in their lives. Only love can heal them. No science, no medicine today is necessary, from the moment that love is manifested in you, from your heart center and in each of its cells. There is only joy, one that does not end, ever, one that does not go out, ever. So I'll give them anything new, but, much more, to encourage them to live events, whatever they are, both in his life as the collective level, with the same intensity and, above all, the same love. Either way you are touched or affected, love grow, forever, from the moment you turn to him, from the moment his silent prayer accompanies them every look and every breath you pour on this world. Retain, more evident than ever before, without looking, without thinking, that love is the answer and it is the same for each of you, as to an archangel, as for the lower life, the tiniest of this earth. Without love, you will live it, it is no longer the case, there is no possibility of eternity. Love is henceforth the bomb that will fill all that is needed. Retain that it is very simple and the ephemeral cannot be contained with what is simple, only eternity can. His spirit of truth, your impersonal, his spirit of the Son, the choir of angels, all that was broadcast them these many years is today a natural and spontaneous fulfillment of the graces of love and life. I repeat, whatever you are affected in your flesh, in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your life, it moves away from you, from the moment you turn, only for the love that is in you before being manifested on earth by trumpets, for Christ, for my appeal in the tribulations that the earth begins to live, since there are numerous months. All this is just spend and spend, only love will remain. So how, human sister, I will engage to go more deeply to you for that love that asks only to hatch, despite all you may appoint karma, wound, suffering of any kind whatsoever. Turn to themselves, not as a person, of course, but in his eternity, in his mind, there where your heart beats. Everything is there, absolutely everything, nothing missing, and ever more visible to his conscience, to his eyes, to his senses. Everything else, whatever your dose of pain or discomfort, do just spend and spend, the quicker you accept what you are, the spirit of truth, this purity of love, which has nothing to do with the masks social, masks the appearance of his physical condition, his family situation, that nothing depends and which, however, acts on all with the same equanimity. Do it also in your consciousness, conform to the model you want, whether Christ, whether Buddha, whether I, whether Krishna or whatever name you want, it does not matter, it's your last crutch. It is time now to walk and face what you are, in truth. Every day and every night a porter to you, every one of you according to their modes of communication, I would say, which is useful to approach them, always, the more accurate the simplicity of his heart, the simplicity of love, simplicity of truth. You have no need or emotions or understanding, you just have to be their need, fulfilling their occupations, whatever, the same interior prayer of state and silence. If you do so, thanks inundate you, so, often, surprising and new to each of you, which gives them to see the truth behind the appearance of this world, the appearance of relations, the appearance of errors, this private world of his divinity. It ends, anyway. With you, we sing praises now, so that my appeal translate to, somehow, a greater intensity conversion, if I may say, the truth of the heart. Beliefs, as you see, apart up, one after the other, and let them bear, sometimes without references, without being able to rely not on the light, apparently, not in religions, nor the family, nor in whatever. All this is just an injunction to go to you with lightness, with fullness and grace. For this, of course, all that is around his person, personality, its history, in short, that ephemeral, must pass real and concrete, to the background, not by an effort of will, but simply by the grace of love. Love put forward in all things, put the light, let the light be. It's what you are, it does not need you, she needs to be her deep, his eternal being, one who recognizes me in Christ, as all-wise and all-holy. Come back to become like these children, live in the present moment. Be vigilant and attentive, not to understand, not to reject, not to solve but, much more, to be yourself, more and more, if I can say, monopolized by his eternity. His ephemeral continue until my appeal, with happiness, with elegance and ease, from the moment you rely on your heart and your eternity, and nothing else. Love every circumstance of his life, each reunion, with an intensity, if I may say, tenfold compared to what you have been living with the vibrations, with its superconsciousness because, there, now, you touch the heart of the heart, that is the spirit, which has nothing to do with vibrations, which has nothing to do with what goes on, that has nothing to do, even with the rise, since the spirit is revealed. He is, himself, revealed himself and therefore ascended in himself. If you adopt these provisions, every day of your life and every breath of your life will be filled, increasingly, of joy, of lightness, of evidence. Even in problem solving in their flesh or in your head, it will no longer have the same importance or the same density. You will then become increasingly light. Do not look for solutions, not seek explanations, do not rest more in any belief whatsoever, but become eternal rock of your heart, in love and grace. This opens them without vibration condition, without condition karma, without belief condition. Are spontaneous and are true, let's speak the light, even by his words. Nothing reflect, let spontaneity and grace invade them beyond all saturation and every limit. There is nothing else to do. Of course, people of nature are always at your disposal, of course, each of your relationships, each of his affections is there to show them that. And even his enemies, in any case, those you might consider as opposing enemies to his grace, are there only to affirm them in grace and nothing else. The circumstances of this world, the individual and collective level, as perhaps you have realized, are changing everything completely. The overlap of eternity and the ephemeral ends the ephemeral, so it's like that all legend or whole story, as all belief. Being yourself is certainly to be humble, it is certainly transparent. It is mostly no longer be attached or hung by any element of its history, for any suffering that body or any difficulty relationship whatsoever. If you have the intelligence, all human, to put love ahead, then the heart intelligence will unravel with much majesty that you released it to you to hold. The resurrection of the time came, what makes them say, and his cross, whatever Father, I commend my spirit into your hands. There's the resurrection, there is the ascension, there is the assumption and there is freedom. Outside of that, as you see in society, wherever you are in this world, personal and individual freedoms diminish. This is normal, because it represents the forces of resistance that remain, even when something dies and the newborn is not yet born or birth due, with more or less evidence for each of you. Retain only that what I told you today. Love is simple, Grace abounds, from the moment his person, his appearance is not in front of the scene. Today, life calls them out, in multiple ways and multiple modes of game appearance of his person, enrolled between birth and death, to live his eternity and say, well, like Christ I am alive, I was reborn, I am resurrected. Whatever the manifestations of your world as your body, do not reflect this by an abnormality, a disease or resistance, but simply the illumination of light, which is sometimes light, violently, which can remain, in you, belief, ephemeral or lockouts, as you say. All these are just games that are nothing in front of his eternity. The time my call came, and the 4.5 months that separate the end of this year will be for the earth as a whole, extremely agitated, and is around the shaking and moving and changing, dissolving, the serenity of the heart made find yourself more easily. Make the experience. What do you risk, what do you have to lose, when it is given them with abundance and grace? Forget about the rancor and resentment, forget up the wounds, forget as the future, because there is no future, there is only eternity. All those of you who believe, still, the emergence of a new world right here in this dimension, must henceforth surrender to the evidence this world has no possible survival. Each day shows them that, whether through his body, advancing age, or who has been born, whether by society, whether it is traditional, primitive or liberal, as you say. There is no solution there. The real solution is in you, so let this una solution, the only truth, appear under his gaze in wonder. Pray every minute. You have no need for words, you have no need to call something that would be on the outside, since everything is in you, we have repeated many times. It is up to you to check, it is up to you to settle this supreme peace address, in which no wound can affect what you are in this world. There's your eternity. Silence, I invite you, therefore, this day of Assumption, the set of my children and the whole of life on earth to surrender to the light, to surrender to love. Whatever your fears, love is always greater than the greatest of fears. Check in your body, check it every time, there is true prayer. Her only nutrition will become, very soon, you are, in truth and in eternity. This is already the case. I know so many of my children who see their former habits disappear, they see their latest collapse beliefs. Not see the wound, by the way, they do not see the wound, they see there, simply, the establishment of the grace of love. Silence, our events, whether those of the Intergalactic Confederation of Free Worlds, whether the people of nature, whether it, too, between you and another brother or sister is the same. Love asks only to take over the place. Any appearance that is not maintained in the face of love. There's your pass, and it will become not only increasingly evident, but I would say in some way, becoming more essential and vital. You are the spirit, you are love, you are the light that took a body as a vehicle. Only eternity is able to meet all the calamities, all your wounds, all their stories and all your doubts. So do not hesitate now to enter this perpetual prayer of the heart, there is love and nowhere else. Silence, I came therefore invite them to commune same with you and in themselves, right here, whatever the contributions of other dimensions, whatever the revelations that you have lived, whatever the reunions that have done in a plan physical or subtle, whatever their expansions of consciousness. Let joy be what you are, there, where there is thirst, there, where there are no more questions, there were no more questions, there, where there is no time or space, there, where the naked love that you are. There's your only nutrition and the only essential thing in these troubled times of the earth, that will amplify it. I do not hide them in a vastly larger scale than what has been experienced so far. All this is part of the establishment of the kingdom of love, the 1,000-year reign, in another state, in another form and another freedom, which has nothing to do with freedom as you could see in the social structure of this world. Rediscover freedom, not one to act in this world to his own claim, but that of yourself, every breath, and every minute, every morning as every night. Here is the only way to become, yourselves, that burning child of the sun, this Christi, the risen Christ. Silence, let me also as mother of mankind, be present at your side, from the moment you come in you. I would say, even, that there is no need to perceive our presence, to realize the channel Mariano, realize your chakras or new bodies, or the stars and doors. There is a bare consciousness that is there, that awaits them, not dependent on any external manifestation, even light, but that is the very light, which you are. So, every day and every moment, we are all in you, present your side and you. We are no longer simply in relation or communion, we are no longer solely in fusion, as the mechanisms of consciousness that have them, perhaps, given to live, but it is the installation of the kingdom of love, not it depends on any circumstances or any previous state. So you will live the state of grace and abandonment to grace without difficulty, without having to isolate themselves, without having to run away from any condition that is, she wants concern to your body, your relationships, your family, your work. That's what you are, yourselves, in your eternity, which does not depend on any circumstance, nothing more than not love what you are. Allow me, dear children, wherever you are on earth, by the time you read or hear what I just said, bless them now, wherever you are. After they heard me, after reading, close your eyes and turn up for you. Do not cling to anything that happens, whether an emotion, a thought, a vibration, an energy, are simply there. Be the light receptacle is the sacred vessel filling and who finds himself light. I apporto them my eternal and infinite blessing. I apporto you what you are in love and truth, in the Spirit. Thus, from heart to heart, each of you is able to do the same thing, to come across a stranger on the street, having a restriction in any order whatsoever. Be in joy and be in deed. They do not react, nothing calculate, yourself are increasingly frequently, more easily and with greater clarity every day. Everything is there, everything else is just passing. I love them, I the grip on my heart, each of you, my heart, that is your heart. What was my flesh is now his flesh. What is my spirit is the spirit of eternity. Everything is there, everything is in you. Do you accept that? Check in, by themselves, do not believe. I love them and I bless them, wherever you are, on any day that you read or hear what I just said. There is nothing new, you see. Of course, there were lots of internal events that have occurred, which led to the sea, to the absolute, to the impersonal. Today, there are more steps, the work set is performed, the nuptials assembly was held. There is only to experience for yourselves, and establish themselves in their eternity. From heart to heart, that grace and Christ accompany us every minute and every second. I love them. See you later.